Right, and now, is there a motion to to reopen as a package, the public hearing for site plan review for the proposed motor vehicle repair garage at 37 Appleton LLC, the special permit to exceed temporary fence height for the proposed motor vehicle repair garage, also 37 Appleton LLC, and the special permit for reduction of parking for the proposed motor vehicle garage at 37 Appleton LLC.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Roll call for Mimi,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Gurinder,
Yes.
and Lauren.
Yes.
All right. Philippe, you're on.
Hi, I'm just, I know the meeting closed last night. Sorry, I'm just on the road right now. The meeting closed last week or a couple weeks ago, and if we don't have anything to add, so if the board would go through the conditions, we'd be willing to, listen to them and discuss them as necessary.
Okay, well, I think that we held these hearings open in case there were any more items or issues or information that came up in the interim.
I don't have them on my agenda as a public hearing.
Okay, I do, and I'm not sure why. So if you don't have it on the agenda as a public hearing.
Well,
Jeff,
what date was yours stamped? Because maybe you have a more updated one.
no, I am looking at the one on the city website. Jeff, do you have any information about this?
Well, I thought it would have been the May 27th. Are you looking at the May 27th, 2025 agenda?
I am.
Let me check, because they're only scheduled to be on for the public meeting,
Yeah.
not the hearing. They're items 3, 4, and 5 on the. Let me just check 1 second, please.
No, I think you're right. I think that I am misreading, and this whole thing was an error. The public meeting was, or the hearing was already closed, and we can forget everything I said for the past few sentences.
No problem, Mimi.
Okay, sorry about that, but I'm glad that we didn't hold you up for another round of public hearing.
I think it's just so our public hearing agenda is so short, you just like skipped right down farther down the page.
Yeah, I think it's too many screens. But okay, in that case, forget all of that. I need a motion to open the public meeting of the Holyoke Planning Board.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Roll call vote for Mimi,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Gurinder,
Yes.
and Lauren.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So first up on our meeting agenda is the special permit for an increase in sign size, which I think we pretty much already discussed. But just to go over it again, we're going to ask the building department to check with the management directly and see if they can move them along, as it were, and persuade them to come back and tell us what they're doing about their already out of compliance signs. And we have continued this out to September 9th. Item 2 is the backyard chickens. And just as a note, I think Jeff is checking for whether there's anything that we actually need Rosanna for a quorum for, but we obviously don't to discuss the backyard hens. So I gather from that we might as well do it now. or at least talk about it now. If, is it worthwhile asking for the existing recommendation or the draft that Kate was referring to be displayed for everybody, or can we just discuss it in general? Because I think this is an easy fix. We just take out all of the commentary for the actual recommendation and write a new one that says basically, here is our piece of this. We understand that most of the substantive provisions around backyard hens come from the Board of Health and are part of the Holyoke Code of Ordinances and not part of the zoning ordinance. From our perspective, we think that this is an excellent idea, and here are the changes that would need to be made to the zoning ordinance. There are no changes from the last time you saw this 4 years ago.
I think it would be useful if our letter just references the fact that previous questions that we had were addressed by the Board of Health letter of, whatever that date was. And that we assume that similar guidance would come from the Board of Health this time.
Yeah, sounds good. And so do we want to look at the draft letter and approve it next time, or we'll still have time. So, if you want to either ask staff or ask me to write something up to look at next time, we can vote on it then.
I think that would be great. And then, we can just make any last minute corrections we need to, but we'll still be in time. Oh, Jeff is saying that now his internet connection is unstable and he's having trouble getting back to us, but hopefully that won't last too long. Yeah, I think we know what we need, and if we can just look over it in 2 weeks, then we can get it over to them in time for their hearing.
Okay, does that sound good to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, then, especially since I happen to know that staff is buried, I will volunteer to write a draft of the approval.
Thank you, Mimi. Appreciate it.
You guys are heroes. I don't know how you're managing.
Well,
And, I'm hesitating here because I'm assuming that the quorum check Jeff is doing is, in fact, whether we can take up the decision for 37 Appleton without Rosanna.
I assume that is the case. Oh, it looks like he's signing back in now.
Good.
Sorry about that. I'm having a very bad connection right now. It's coming in waves. I was just checking back, and based on the meetings nights that we had, that Gernander was not present on 1/14 of 2025, but Rosanna was. Then on the 2/11 and 3/11, the applicant chose to continue the hearing, and then 4/8 and 5/13. We had quorums. So with the 4 members we have tonight, Gernander was not present on the 14th, the opening night.
Okay, and so Jane, remind me, does that mean that we cannot make this or do the decision without Rosanna?
It would depend whether or not Gernander has reviewed that January meeting or watched it, and if he has, to make the affirmative affirmation that he has watched it and reviewed it. If he has not, then we cannot vote without Rosanna.
I was afraid you were going to say that. Gurninder, is there any chance that you have reviewed that meeting?
No, I don't want to lie. No, I did not. So we have to
Okay.
wait for Rosanna.
Well then, our apologies to Philippe, but we can't take this up tonight after all. We will put it on our next agenda.
Maybe can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Since we have a relatively light agenda today and who knows what's going to be happening 2 weeks from now, could the rest of us go through the decisions and just sort of do all the wordsmithing we need? And then all we need to do is have Rosanna read it before the next meeting and it'll be a faster thing to vote it through.
I'm happy to do that if Jane will bless it.
That's fine.
Thank you. Okay, let's do it. We'll get this at least as far as we can. And I know we do have draft decisions.
Give me 1 second, I'm looking up.
Obviously, the dates are gonna have to be updated on these because these are from last meet or from a couple weeks ago when they were drafted.
Okay. We'll change them when we have the actual vote.
That's right.
One thing I was thinking about on this, I think it's notable that the city engineer asked for the sidewalks and that they've agreed to the sidewalks. So I would maybe put something into the circulation section, saying that it improves pedestrian circulation by adding a sidewalk in front of the connecting the subject property
Mhm.
To Appleton Street.
to, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great.
So maybe and improves pedestrian circulation. Improves. I mean, it also approves pedestrian
That's right.
circulation, but it improves.
Oh. Did I spell that wrong? Okay, so.
It's yeah.
No, sorry. Oh,
There you go.
gotcha.
Pedestrian.
Improves,
Pedestrian circulation by what? Providing a sidewalk access or a sidewalk accessing connecting providing a sidewalk connecting the development to Appleton Street. Otherwise, I thought the findings were good.
Yeah.
So number 5 was just another kind of catch-all that I think we added at the last,
Yeah.
doesn't that mean it has
Yeah.
to remain on every project, but was something else added to the last round of decisions on the 13th. And so I just kind of carried it over in light of the fact that there still could be other local state. I mean, I know that the fire department at this point isn't approving of anything till after the building permit. Actually, after they've received construction permits or plans, I think. So at any rate, but that I believe was what was used last time.
Yeah, I might say the project will comply with, as opposed to is subject to. But it seems like a reasonable thing to have there.
Yes. And then I was just assuming that the board would want to see what the progress was 6 months from now
Mm-hmm.
under number 6.
Yeah,
You can just adjust both those dates.
That's right. That's right.
I will do that.
8 and 9 are just typical
Yeah.
standard decision items at this point. Now, you'll see the cross-offs here. So, this was so presumably they've stated, these would be normal site plan review condition items. We added them back as in this draft, but crossed them off because technically they did address signage in the site plan review process during the public hearings, as well as they also noted the temporary signs. Now, I don't know if just to be safe, you add these back, but being technically, I think if I recall in their responses, they said there was going to be no temporary signs on the site, and that there would only be they've already kind of approved the American Environmental sign on the easterly side of the building, and I believe there might have been one on the southerly side as well over the door. But something to that effect. At any rate, they've technically approved them. Now, I don't know if the board wants to keep these here just as should something else appear or not, but they were technically addressed in the correspondence between, the staff and the applicant's representatives.
I think they can be taken out. I mean, if they know that if they make any changes, they need to submit those.
Yeah, the ordinance requires it anyway, so.
So this whole thing can just be wiped out?
Done out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And number 18, I just kind of highlighted it because I know at one point, I believe there was a concern that the space or part of the site could perhaps be leased to others.
Yeah,
It's up to the board whether or not they want it there. I just recall hearing it at some point through the process.
yeah, no, given community concerns that I think have since been alleviated, I think it doesn't hurt to have it there.
Also, my numbering's off. I jumped from 18 to 20.
Well,
But
so
I'll
what?
fix
You can fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the?
We can't approve it, but it's ready for
Oh,
approval next
Right,
time.
thank you, thank you, thank you. So we can move on to the next piece of this. Is I believe that there was or let me allow Brianna to open this thing before I begin yammering about it.
There we go.
So this is for the construction fence, and this seems like a no-brainer.
I think the select all that apply, in my opinion, it's the first three.
Yeah, I agree. The
It's
second,
not durable and it doesn't harmonize, but that's okay because it's temporary. That's
Yeah.
how these things are. That's what we expect from a temporary fence.
So I'm taking out the
Yeah,
last two
the other
bullets.
three are fine.
yeah,
Okay,
and I would also just take out the select all that apply. And I think that does it.
alrighty. Pull up the next. The computer is not. Okay.
Nobody's having a great time with their computer tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
So I believe that the applicant has asked to withdraw this.
That is correct.
So do we still need to render a decision if it's withdrawn? In which case we could give leave to withdraw, or can we just ignore it? What's the,
Trying to think, 'cause this doesn't happen that often. I would assume that on some level, maybe the board would withdraw it based on the request of the applicant. And under
Wait,
the reasoning that it was found that the number provided exceeded the number identified by the zoning officer as the amount required. If I recall off the top of my head, I think it was they were providing 59, but they only were required 56 or something to that extent.
can we ask Jane if we even need to render a decision if they've withdrawn the application?
Hi, yeah, so if if they have withdrawn, then I would just, it would just be withdrawn at the request of the applicant, like Jeff stated. We don't want to like make a decision because then there's some time periods associated with that statutorily. So they would just need to, you just need to say withdrawn at the request of the applicant.
Okay,
But put that in the form of a letter, yes or no? Jane.
speaking of computer troubles,
So yeah, I would think on some level that would need to be memorialized in a correspondence though, so that way it can be put into the file, considering it was a public or was a special, an advertised special permit. So I would assume that would still need to be put into the form of a letter.
well, if we have to do it next time because of Rosanna, we can do it next time. But
Yeah.
yeah, we could certainly do a letter saying, please be advised that on this date, the board voted to accept the applicant's request to withdraw.
I just let her back in, so maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Sorry,
Okay.
I also had some technical difficulties.
yeah, no, it's just in the air. And I don't even want to tell you about the degree to which my security system is going off every 25 minutes.
Oh, Mimi.
Actually, it's more like every 12 hours, but I can't figure out what's setting it off. But at any rate, I think we have concluded that we will send the applicant a letter saying that, on this date, we accepted the request to withdraw the special permit application. And the only question is whether we can just vote to do that tonight, or whether we need to wait for Rosanna to do that too.
I don't think so. I don't think you need to wait for her. I think you can just do that tonight.
Okay. In that
But
case,
Jane, do you think anything needs to be put in the file to kind of close it out, considering it was an advertised public hearing?
Well,
No,
that would
just
be
at the request of the applicant, it's withdrawn. So, I mean, you're sending a letter, so I think that's fine.
So we are sending a letter.
we are sending a letter.
Okay.
And should we also do that for the withdrawn ANR?
I would, yes.
Okay. So, is there a motion to accept the withdrawal of the special permit?
We
So
can't
moved.
do that. Can we?
Sorry,
We can't do that, can we? Because we need Rosanna.
Jane just said we could go ahead without Rosanna for the letters.
Sorry.
Um,
So I make the
So
motion.
moved.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Roll call vote for Mimi,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Grinder,
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
And since the applicant also withdrew a request for an ANR, is there a motion to write a similar letter accepting that request for the ANR?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Roll call vote for Mimi,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Grinder,
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
All right. Semi-done. Kate, thank you for suggesting that.
It'll just be easier.
It will be so much easier. Which brings us to, Jane, I don't think we need an executive session tonight, do we?
I don't believe so.
Yay. On to project updates, old business, new business, which brings us to the amendment for the turf field project for the charter schools. And they've made a few changes, I think, since we last saw it. Is there anyone here to talk about the turf field project?
Yeah, so I'm Colleen Fowler with Gale Associates, representing the school tonight. I
Thank
had
you.
just sent Jeff a few documents. One was the lighting design that just showed the cutoff from where the lights go to the zero limit. And then there was a EPA study on those crumb rubber pellets that somebody had asked about. And then the total impervious area overall is just decreasing by 1/2 acre because that stone base underneath the field will act as a pervious area. And then the last thing, we just received comments from the city engineer on our stormwater report. So we were just waiting to finalize that so that we can send you guys a final copy just once all those revisions are made.
So, when you say that you just got that letter, when did that happen?
It was Wednesday or Thursday last week. We submitted that application, I think like April 21st, maybe.
Yeah.
But I know they said they were pretty backed up, so we're still waiting for them to get us on a public hearing for the Stormwater Authority.
Yeah, they are pretty backed up, it's true. So, I have one question about the EPA study, which is just whether there's anything at all more recent than that was. I mean, it was reassuring and it was important to see. I just, I don't know whether this is an area where the state of the art is changing rapidly, or like, there's anything updated that we might want to know about.
Yeah, so that study was actually done this spring and got released. So it's definitely the newest study that is out there right now.
Was that report dated though? Because I was looking at it and the only references like back to like 2017. I mean, that was done this year?
Yeah, so that I pulled out. So we actually have a whole PDF that's like hundreds of pages.
Okay.
And usually people are only concerned about that like summary part. So I pulled it out of the whole document, but I can put the full one in a link and
Well,
send it
we
over
don't
to
need the
you.
full one, but I guess it would just be nice if you could at least, can you give us some sort of just a reference to show like the cover page that would show the date on that?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm gonna admit I was kind of confused myself on that.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, so anyone else have questions? Kate, you look like you're about to have a question.
Well, it just seems like we've got everything we need except the stormwater approval.
Yeah, I know we have to get that approval under a different board. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're again just waiting on them to get us on their schedule. Obviously we need to submit our responses to their comments, so we're working on that this week. And then once like I said, we have the finalized report, I will send it to Jeff so you guys have it as well.
And you don't know what the timeline on that is. I'm just wondering, if we're gonna ask you to come back at a certain time, it would be nice to not have to ask you to
Yeah,
come back before it was ready.
I just know that we're gonna get their like comments back to them this week, but they have not told us any sort of timeline on when we can get on a public hearing with them. I thought it was originally 30 days from when we submitted the application, but then I think once they said they were very backed up, I don't think they wanted to give us a date that they weren't going to be able to follow through on. So we're kind of in a holding pattern.
And it does seem to me that that's all that's outstanding from our point of view. And then the question is, that this is not a public hearing, it's just a public meeting. So when that happens, one thing we can do is just ask you to check in with us and we will get you on the next agenda because it'll be in and out.
Okay.
I mean, unless something really dire happens, which we don't anticipate. And it certainly doesn't sound like you anticipate.
Right. I don't hope not.
Yeah, but as soon as you have a final revised plan to show us.
Yeah, just that full stormwater report.
Yeah, so if that sounds okay to you and the rest of the board and staff agree, I would say let's go. Let's do that next. Just bring you in when you know you have everything and we can vote it through. I mean, assuming if anybody thinks that we can just proceed immediately, speak up now, but I think we need a complete package.
Yeah, I guess it was our understanding we didn't need the stormwater report for the planning board. It was to get the separate permit from the city engineer.
Yeah, no, if it were just their permitting, it wouldn't be a problem. The question is whether you need to make any changes to your plan
Plans, I see.
in response to whatever they do. Because otherwise, you'd just be right back here asking us to amend the last amendment.
Right.
So, any other questions, comments before we move along? Then seriously, our agenda posts on Thursdays. If you know on a Wednesday that you're ready for the next meeting, let us know.
Okay.
We
Yeah, I'll
do
just email
everything
that
we
stuff
can
to you, Jeff.
Not make you wait.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Thanks. All right, next up, Chapter 61A review for Adam Mulcahy Mountain Road, 10.448 acres. We did just get the letter today, this afternoon, from the Conservation Commission. And yeah, and Jeff, do you want to explain this or do you want me to go for it?
Well, I guess I would suggest that you probably go for it, but I don't know if you want, should we share the screen? Or I don't know, or I'm
Oh, by
assuming
all
everybody
means.
has seen it. As soon as I got it, I immediately forwarded it to everybody.
Yeah, no,
But
I know that it came in.
yeah,
I will admit that,
Uh,
I spent time on other things. I did
for
not
sure.
carefully read it.
So, I mean, I guess what I'll do is I can give a really brief update, and then if there's anything you feel that you need to add, feel free to do so. How's that?
Well,
It's up
whichever.
to you. Okay, so there on Mountain Road, there's 10.448 acres of land that has been under Chapter 61A protection now for, we'll just say forever. Adam's in the process of, dividing the properties and selling them off. And since and these under this protection, and now he's come to a possible sale of that 10 acres, which at that time, if you take land that's been formally protected under 61A, you pretty much have to pay the back taxes on it. So, but what happens though is that the city, when it comes out of Chapter 61 or just before, has the first right of refusal. In speaking with Yoni later this afternoon, what he did say was that if it's going from a similar protected status to owner to another protected status, actually isn't a payment of taxes. So with that, going from a 61A to say Kestrel Trust or something similar, they would not have there would be no taxes have to be paid because it would still remain in a protected status. So the city has the first right of refusal. It comes before the planning board, it goes before Conscom, and the letter that you saw sent, that was in response to the Conscom meeting late last week.
So, my impression without a super close reading is that conservation believes strongly that we ought to be approving this. And our power, like theirs, is advisory only. So the question before us is, do we feel that we should also write to the city council saying, this acquisition has the planning board's support and here is why? And I don't think this is necessarily a question that we're going to resolve tonight, although, I for one say, yes, I think it's good to preserve what, historically protected green space we have still in the city. And that's a beautiful area of the city. But, my snap response is without, I've had like hours to think about this, not weeks and years, and I certainly don't want to impose my thoughts on everybody else. But that is what's going on with this. And if I'm wrong and we all have the same snap reaction, we can vote on it tonight.
Yeah, I think if our conservation director thinks that it should be, and if an organization like Kestrel Land Trust is stepping up to actually front the money for it, then they would not do that if it weren't land worth protecting. So bless you, Lauren.
Thank you.
So I think given that those agencies are moving in that direction, I think I would be supportive of a letter saying that we support it.
I'm definitely in support of a letter saying that we support it. I had a chance to talk to Yoni in person about this just for a quick second, so I feel great about it.
Okay, Grinder?
Sorry, I just went to the bathroom. I missed the last part.
So we're talking about the 10.5 acres on Mountain
Yeah,
Road.
I heard the front, but the last part, what do you want to do now?
Okay, well, three of us are already strongly in support of sending a letter saying that we are good with this. But,
Yeah, I read it, so I'm okay with that too.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah. Yes, didn't want to move forward if you objected.
No,
But-
no. I read not the all way, but then Jeff, I think last time Jeff explained too, and some this time, so I'm okay with that. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we didn't do a formal motion, but if somebody would like to move that we write a letter supporting the Kestrel / city exercise of the right of first refusal on this property.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Roll call vote for Mimi,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Gurinder,
Yes.
and Lauren.
Yes.
All right. It remains to be drafted. I imagine that we can crib a certain amount from what is already in Yoni's letter, but I feel good about this. And procedurally, do you all want to designate somebody to write a draft, ask staff to do it, attempt to do it tonight while we're sitting here? Up to you.
If I can, Mimi,
Yes.
I just wanted to say that City Council, I believe, is taking this up on June 2nd. So if there's any way that if you want to like expedite it, you can, but you do have 120 days from the date. So don't feel like you have to. But I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, because in fact, if they're taking it up on June 2nd, it hardly matters that we have 180 days. We should get it to them. On the other hand, that's an awfully short period of time now. So if we can designate a writer or a team of writers and circulate a draft for Friday for people to read, would that work for people?
I definitely don't have time to write anything, but I would have time to edit something that someone else wrote.
Okay, I'm going to regret this, but if this is a procedure that Jane is okay with and the board is okay with, I will come up with a draft.
I'm fine with that. We just need to make sure that when it's circulated, we're not doing a reply all situation on the email.
Okay, but if I write it and say, send comments only to me and or Jane and me, we're good?
Yeah.
Okay,
Couldn't you just also forward it as a BCC? And I think at that point, it won't send it to everybody.
Yeah, then you
Or-
can't even accidentally reply all
Right.
if you do it as a BCC.
Just offering that.
yeah, no, it's something that never occurs to me, and it is much easier than sending an individual note to everybody, which is what I do in these circumstances, so that no one can accidentally reply all.
BCC is my favorite tool to save people from themselves.
Yes. Yeah, no, point definitely taken. I don't know why I never think to do it. Okay, so let's say that's what we're doing. Watch your mailboxes for this. Whether or not it will be any good, I won't guarantee, but it will get to you.
It's going to be great.
And you can tell me what I did wrong, and we'll fix it and get it to the city council before they vote.
I don't think they're grading us on our writing ability.
No, but they're grading us implicitly on our persuasiveness.
It's true.
What our grade is, I don't like to think. Okay, so on to our next item, which is the section 710 marijuana letter for Massachusetts Cannabis Cooperative, 1 Cabot Street. And I know Parker had a draft in there.
Yes, so I redid the drafts and made it more of a narrative style. If you, I don't know if you wanted to go through it or if you guys have looked at it.
I've read it. I think you did a nice job.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think that we are probably looking at a vote to approve, and therefore, if you can screen share it so that everyone is looking at what we are voting on, we can finalize it and get it off your desk.
Parker, do you want to screen share it or do you want me
Can you do it, please?
to? Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm. 1 second. Alrighty.
Oh, except it's for, it should, this one should go to Counselor Rivera.
Oh. Gotcha. This right one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is terrific.
The most notable thing was just that they are missing a bunch of plans from their application submission, so. And also the plans that they did submit, it's unclear where exactly in the building they want to put it because they have the same space labeled for two different establishments that are not Mass Cannabis Cooperative. So that might need some clarity as to where they actually want to put it, because they
Yeah.
don't have anything labeled for it on the maps.
I have to say, I'm really impressed with this letter. I think this is much, much higher impact and will be easier for them to work with than the way we've been doing this before. And it's great. It makes it really clear what they have to be paying attention to. So thank you. Terrific work.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, my idea had been like, oh, using different colors for coding it. I don't think we need it. If they can't interpret this letter, then I think we maybe go for strategies like color coding. But I think that this is, yeah, I think this is clear. You tell them what you're going to tell them. You tell them what you told them. I think it should work.
Okay. Anyone else? There a motion to approve this letter?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Roll call vote for Mimi,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Amanda,
Did you say my name?
yes,
Sorry, yes.
and Lauren.
Yes.
And next up is letter under section 710 for marijuana facilities for Blue Fox Brands, 1 Cabot Street. Same address, different people.
So Blue Fox is already operating in their space, and they're just adding on they're adding on 4 new storage rooms. One of them has a 300 square foot booth that is explosion proof class 1 division 1 steel reinforced. And that's because they are going to start utilizing ethanol and butane extraction for different types of THC consumption. So they need the special tanks and stuff like that to keep it contained, which will need to be checked by the fire department, I believe, to make sure that everything is safe there.
Yeah. And again, I like the way you've got this set up so that you can't get beyond the second paragraph without understanding what it is they're trying to do.
This applicant also was missing a bunch of plans from their submission. I think it's because they believe that because it's an amendment, they don't have to resubmit everything that they did in the first place, but they still need to, and they were requesting waivers for things that we cannot say that we can't accept. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah,
Is
no,
Is it a situation where I don't know enough to know whether we really, if we were making the rules, we would think we would need all of that stuff for an amendment or not. I guess, as you do more of these, if we decide we want to make a recommendation to the city council to change that, like if it feels like it's really not necessary, we could make a recommendation to the city council that they.
But there is no provision in the ordinance saying that anything less can be accepted.
But couldn't the
Where in
ordinance be
site plan
changed?
review, it says you can waive, and section 10 would state that you can waive anything, any or all, or waive contents. But under 710, there is no exception like that, other than perhaps a variance or something, which a variance wouldn't even necessarily apply.
But we could suggest that they change that ordinance if we thought it was called for, right?
Well, but then at that point, are you holding up this designer or developer
Oh,
because
no, I'm not saying we should do it now. I'm just saying we could do that separately if we thought that was worth doing.
yeah, and with these items, I really wonder at it because, okay, on one level, maybe it's a pain to resubmit this stuff, but presumably they have it. It was paperwork that was important when they first set up. And I'm not sure what's so difficult about asking them to make some photocopies and throw them into their application package.
Other than it's busy work if we already have it.
Well, it's busy work if we already have it, but I hate to be cynical about this, but this way the city files things, I can see a genuine value to please resubmit this stuff so that we have it all in one place and we know where that place is.
Yeah, it should, in my opinion, it should be on the applicant to provide the information, not on us to see if we have the information for them.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, if this were like, oh no, we have to call like some registrar in California and get a stamped and notarized document that we otherwise don't have, I might feel difficult or differently about this, but they should send us this stuff. They should not fight with somebody who is trying to do the review.
Well, I'm not suggesting we delay this review at all. I think we should send it, but I just
Yeah.
As we think about streamlining processes, if this just keeps coming up, we might consider whether it's really worth.
Yeah. And, I think there are things that are context dependent too. Like the letter from the Holyoke Police Department, there may be no changes in security, but, I would want the chief of police to review this, given the safety concerns with, they're putting in a giant fire containing tank. I realize that fire is the principal agency here, but I'd kind of like to have the police department at least aware of the fact that this exists. And if I were the police chief, I would like to know that it existed.
So can I make a motion that we approve the letter?
You can, please.
I am making that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Call vote for Mimi,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Grinder,
Yes.
and Lauren.
Yes.
Okay. And finally, the last one of these is drive-through facility review for Florence Bank.
This one's pretty simple. It's like 1 page long.
Yeah, I also thought this letter was just what we needed.
Here, here.
Oh.
So this looks good to me. Anyone on the board have any comments, suggestions? All right, is there a motion to approve the section?
I have a question about this drive-through. I live in the house right next door to that. Is there going to be a privacy fence there? Because I think that the drive-through is gonna be right next to my fence.
So you live on Hampton Street?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, we need your name or your full name and your address for the record. And before we do that, I just want to point out that this is a meeting rather than a hearing. And, you know, and I assume the rest of the board is happy to hear from you, but this is not a public hearing and there's no entitlement on behalf of the public to speak at it. Nevertheless, give us your name and record and we will hear from you and see if we
Okay.
can get your questions answered.
Let me just put my name on here.
Sure.
That's my full name, and I live on 1204 Hamden Street.
Okay, thank you. And you are concerned about there being a fence between your property and the project?
Like a privacy fence, yes.
Is it fence?
They are planning on putting up an 8-foot high stockade fence along the eastern side of the property.
Yeah.
Which
Also
they haven't.
I was gonna say also it's not right, the drive-through is not right up against the fence.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Where is it, next to the fence or like where?
Can we
There's-
pull up the plans just to show her?
Yes, thank you.
Give me 1 second. Oh, wait, I don't think.
Brianna, if you go into the last meeting, agenda, of the 5/13.
Yep.
Florence should be there and there should be a plan there.
Okay.
If not, if you can't find it, I'll grab it.
Gotcha. Give me 1 second.
Concerns. If I have any concerns, where would, because I know that you said this is just a public meeting, where would I be able to ask these questions?
You will be able to do it in front of the city council. The public hearing should be before the Development and Governmental Relations Committee, DGR. And
TGM.
I'm not sure when their next meeting is and when they're taking this up, but it will be a public hearing and you will have a right to speak.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and just
Cool.
FYI, we did have a public hearing on this in this body already, but we've closed it. That it was a couple weeks ago.
Wait, just give it I don't know what all those little dots, just give it a chance. It's redrawing. And I think also.
Do you know what page it was on? Jeff?
Look for, let's see, Greg, go, you're gonna look for, let's see. Can you click that finish setup so it won't be taking up that much of the screen? Thank you.
Now it's gonna come in.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry.
Where to go, Jeff?
Oh, crap. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was gonna do that.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that.
Okay, basically you want the layout page.
All right, I can.
And it's probably sheets, well, normally it'd be like sheet 4, maybe, what's that
I
right
think you
there?
can actually
it right
see it
there.
on this.
Right, so it's
Is it
If you
this
can-
one?
you can
Yeah,
go to that, that's
this will
fine.
work.
So just zoom into the top of the page. Where the you see all those little bubbles? Right in there. So there's gonna be an 8-foot fence going down the side there, next to the fence that's falling over. Oh,
Ah, man. Give me 1 second. I just lost it.
just scroll up a hair. Yep, there you go.
Too far.
Right here?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you can just slide it over a little,
Your
you can
property.
see.
So where's our property on the other
Oh,
side of that?
no,
right?
go more to the left. More, a little more left. Stop.
Okay.
Okay, so your property is on the other side of the line that says,
It says now or formerly Magalade Colazzo.
Yes,
That says it right there on that plan.
where? Ooh, I can't see.
It's
I'm
in
circling
italicized
it.
right in the middle.
It's underneath saw cut and seal pavement.
Oh, right here, right here, right
Oh,
here.
okay.
I see it.
Girl,
Yeah,
that's
it's
Yeah.
so small. I can't. Okay, socket and super, okay.
So your
Okay.
property line is the line, two dashes line, two dashes line, two
Okay.
dashes line.
Mhm.
That's the surveyed property line. So your property is to the north of this development, or to rather to the east of this development, but plan north or plan top. And they're going to be putting an 8-foot fence down the side.
Okay.
They're going to replace the broken chain link.
Okay. Okay.
And their building is going to be in the middle of the parking lot. It's not going to
Mhm.
be up against the fence.
Okay.
Their building's in the middle of the parking lot, and the ATMs essentially are going to be on the Hampden Street side, not the side. They're going to be facing towards Hampden Street, not facing towards your property.
Okay.
Brianna, can you zoom out just a couple clicks to see if we can see the building? Thank you. Go one more time. Oh, okay, this plan's, you need to go up a couple sheets, sorry. It'd be like sheet 4 or 5 that will show the building footprint. Let that one redraw, see what happens. Yeah, so there you can see the building. And for what it's worth, when you're entering the drive-through lane, the headlights of the motor vehicles, when they're queued in lane, will be either north or west. So plan left or bottom is the way the lights would be queued in.
And there's a whole row of parking and an area that you can drive through before you hit between your property and the drive-through.
And that landscaped island that's
Yeah.
just to the east of or just above the drive-through lanes.
Is that making sense?
I wouldn't.
Yes, yes.
I wouldn't say that there's no impact to you as a neighbor, but my guess is that it's going to be less noisy for you simply because there's going to be trees and there's going to be, more buffering things in between you and the ATM than there currently are
Okay.
across the open parking lot
Okay.
to an ATM that faces towards you.
Another concern is like that when they take down some of our fence is leaning on that chain link fence. So our fence is gonna go as soon as they remove that chain link. I don't know if they heard. Did it freeze? No.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that is something that I would
Yeah.
suggest you bring up at the public hearing with DGR and see if they can answer it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, no, happy to help. Anything else we can, or have any other questions that we can try to answer for you?
No, just like the date of the public hearing, but you guys don't know that yet, right? Or
It might be June 2nd. I don't know if Jane, or let me see if I can find because I know the DGR is meeting on June 2nd.
and will we be able to join via Zoom as well?
Presumably, yes. Let me just check the calendar here and see if they've listed the agenda yet.
I don't think they have, Jeff.
Okay, gotcha.
So you'll want to yeah. So the city website, if you check it, if you scroll down to the meeting calendar, it will post there eventually.
So holyoke.org.
calendar.
Mhm. Thank you.
Can I ask how you heard of this meeting tonight?
One of our neighbors actually attended the previous one. We were unable to attend it, and
Okay.
one of our neighbors attended.
The reason why I ask is I'm just curious because it wasn't technically a public hearing. Not that, obviously we appreciate you showing up. It's just that I wasn't sure how the word got out there, and I appreciate that response. Oh, that was a neighbor. Thank you.
Yeah, I would love to do a better job somehow of making sure that people hear about these things. Because, I mean, of course, originally it was a public hearing. And it would be great to have the entire neighborhood affected know when we're doing that and not have to say, oops, too late for us, go talk to DGR.
I agree. We did receive the initial notification, and honestly, we forgot about it and we're busy doing something else, so we were unable to attend. But our neighbor did attend, and she was the one who suggested they're having another one on this date, but we did not realize that it wasn't a public meeting. So we apologize for the intrusion.
Oh,
But thank you for guiding us
No.
in the right direction.
no. I apologize for sounding harsh about it. I just,
no.
although we were happy to hear from you, I just wanted to note for the public record that, this is, this is something that we can do, but nobody should count on it, just in case. You're better off
Okay.
than catch the public hearing.
Got it. Thank
Well,
you so
thank
much.
you for joining us.
Thank you for your help. Thanks.
And I think that was the end of that section. We are on to meeting schedule.
Okay, so if I may, I'll just kind of briefly run through it. June 10th, in a meeting that I had a couple weeks ago, well, I know that Peck School is looking to put a large sign on their westerly side facing Northampton Street, part of the building. And I believe that, well, because of the institutional use and then the zoning ordinance allows for signage, institutional uses in residential zones to basically follow BH zoning or BH zoning, which would then be a 40-80 scenario. And they were going to be submitting for a special permit to exceed the 40 and go up to that 80, as well as amend their plans to include a electric message board type sign on the, we'll call it southerly entrance side of the building. I haven't heard from them, and today at 4:30 would have been their deadline to make it to the 10th. So presumably, if they come back or if they submit, maybe they'll be trying for the 24th, maybe they'll be trying for the 8th of July. I have no idea what their intentions are or were. And also on the 10th, we have a special permit for an increase in temporary fence height at 4632 for the Victory Theater. If you want to go see the fence that's currently up and installed around the building.
Has been for what, a year?
Something like that. June 24th, we were to Tiago Martins for the zone change. You probably recall several months ago. He owned some properties up on Dwight Street that were zone changed from BL to DR. We've since met with him on one occasion with his designer. It was found that he's staying under the thresholds of site plan review, but would still need under the DR special permits for size, frontage, and whatnot. So he was going to be coming for the June 24th, but he's missed that deadline. Having just reached out to me today, he's still looking for the final plans from his designer. He would also need a special permit for parking reduction as well. And so I'm assuming at that point it's going to be July 8th or shortly thereafter by the time we receive his information. Let me think. So, and we currently have nothing scheduled. July 8th is open, but I was hoping that, well, I guess we'll probably continue some of those things. And then I would say that I did get a message today that the Victory Theater might be submitting soon for their site plan review public hearings, but I don't have any further details on that. Other than, like I said, an email later this afternoon saying that they were gearing up for a submission. So that's all I've got on the meeting schedule, at least within the next 3 meetings.
I bet that that is going to change.
Yep. So that's that for section
Okay.
3, or number 3.
So, you know, well, presumably Peck School will come back and they will be on June 24th now. So I can't say that June 24th is gone.
Well, actually, today, if I were today at 4:30 would have been the deadline for that to make it to the 24th. That was, yeah, for that would have been, well, like I said, Peck would never make it for June 10th. Today was the deadline for June 24th. So honestly, the next meeting would be July 8th for those 2 topics or locations, Peck and Tiago.
There's
It may be useful for us to have,
Go ahead.
sorry, it may be useful for us to have space in our agenda to
Yeah,
talk together about the comprehensive plan, so.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Speaking of which, we move directly to other business, comprehensive plan update.
I don't know. Well, so I mean, if I don't know if you want me to take it or not. Well, for what it's worth, we received last week draft number 1. That was to basically the initial review committee, so to speak. Personally, I think it has some challenges. I don't know if the zoning subcommittee that was formed at our last meeting of May 13th, if that committee would like to meet and perhaps discuss, I can forward you the draft if you wish. I know that we're going to be having a huddle meeting on Tuesday to start the discussions, but it's a 220-page document as currently drafted. And I didn't know if that would be something that, I mean, I guess at this point, Lauren being a member of the subcommittee, do you wish to meet in the next week or so we can kind of start looking at this in anticipation also of the future zone changes that we hope to talk about as well?
I would love nothing more.
Wonderful. Is there a good, I mean, do you want me to reach out to you, say tomorrow or later tonight for a better date, or is there a good date right now that would work for you?
Tuesday works. Is Tuesday too late?
Actually, our meeting with them is on Monday, Jeff.
Yes, correct.
Monday.
Yeah. So basically, we're going to be kind of already meeting after the fact, unless I said, it's one of those things where I didn't know what your availability this week would be, so I was just kind of, but do you have time?
Actually, I might hold on Thursday.
Let me just
Hold on, let me just pull up my calendar really quick.
let me pull up mine too, just so I can. 1 second, please. Calendar.
Thursday morning, I have availability.
What time do you think?
You tell me.
For what it's worth, Jane, I know we have kind of a tentative meeting, but I didn't actually check it off yet because I wasn't sure if we had anything to talk about. So I would say if anytime after 9 o'clock, anytime between 9 and 4.
Okay, well, why don't we do 9 and then
Okay.
if something comes up, let me know.
Sure, but I think that's gonna be fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
We'll meet in my old office, though we just won't advertise it.
Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. But
Thank you.
And on a similar note, I'm going to presumably have to come down anyway to sign some letters. If you have time Friday afternoon, maybe we can go, spend some time going over the other issues that we were talking about earlier.
Absolutely. I'm available all day on Friday from, well, basically 8:30 to 4:30.
Okay, well, I don't commit to anything at 8:30 in the morning if I don't have to, but we will figure out a good time and I will
Yeah.
come down there and get the signatures done and look at the aspects of the comp plan that I'm fretting about.
Sure. So just let me know. That's fine.
Which brings us to the Victory Theater.
So
Nope, go ahead.
I just have a report from the meeting that I went to, but if you want to go with the more official stuff first, go for it.
Oh no, I want to hear the unofficial stuff first. It's always more fun.
It was a very lively meeting. There were not a lot of people there, but those that were there had quite a lot to say. but is in terms of where they are with the building itself right now, they're working on facade repointing, and they're cleaning and removing like hazardous materials on the facade and repointing it. It sounds like they've done a lot of work inside, and they did say that they are planning to come to us soon with an updated plan. And my suggestion, I had a nice little chat with the architect after the meeting, and he was like, we talked about the alley portion of things. And I said, do you guys have anything in writing about the alley and you guys going into it? And he's like, well, we have permission. I was like, but do you have it in writing? And I said, and he was like, I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. And I said, well, I would strongly encourage you when you come to us to have it in writing from the fire department. So hopefully
I'm just going to talk to that. Lauren, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. But we actually do have something from, I believe it was Louise, who was the previous one that he did actually approve it. And I think I forwarded that to you, Jeff, but if I didn't, let me know. But I think they have actually approved something for that.
Well, so I guess, can I thank you, Jane? I'm sorry for kind of cutting you off and cutting you both
No,
off,
of
but
course.
just-
It's called, you know, what happens.
But so to follow up though, is that, you know, in speaking with Kevin LaGermonier, he said that that's a pretty critical thing. And just because the fact that the fire department is signing off on it doesn't mean that any other department has. So they might have that one element, but his other concern was that being the severity of it, he was kind of hoping for a letter from the fire chief stating it was okay.
Well, I think that, I mean, absolutely, I think the board can request that from the fire chief. I thought we were only talking about fire. Of course, all the departments maintain their respective authorities over something like this. But as to fire, I was informed in writing that they do have, that he did okay, whatever plan they had. So I feel as though absolutely the board can request that in writing. But just, I think I'm also having an internal meeting about this tomorrow with some folks. I think engineer, Jeff, I think you might be a part of that meeting.
It's just the three of us.
Oh, yay. So we'll talk more about it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I look forward to the results of that.
I will say that the architect that I talked to was very straightforward. He was very like, just interested in trying to move things forward, but wanting to know everything he needs to do to make that happen, which felt a little different and was kind of nice.
Yeah, no, when they came in for site plan review, the architectural team was great. They were a pleasure to deal with. The site plan itself was excellent. It was not the usual experience, as you were putting it.
Yeah.
So if it's the same people, I'm not surprised. I just, you know, I hope that they have some actual authority here. So, you know,
And the majority of the money, or the majority of the meeting was spent hammering Susan and Dawn about following the money. And so there was a lot of heated conversation about that.
I bet. So, you know, I'm not sure I remember who I mentioned this to, but I was sitting in on the DPW meeting where they sent one of their contractors for the fence special permit. And I don't think he fully understood that they should have had that permit a year ago. But, you know, the DPW listened to him. They gave him less time than he had asked for. I think they made it for 6 months, and then he has to come back and re-justify it. But one of the things he implied as he was talking was that they're now planning on phasing the project, as opposed to when they were first in, they were very clear on, no, we agree, we can't even start this project until we have 100% of the funding for it, because it all needs to be done at once. is, I had been concerned about what happens if you get started and your money runs out midway through. But apparently they are now thinking about staging in some way or other. He didn't have the details, but we will want to find out about that. And I suspect, although I don't know for sure, that they don't understand that their old site plan expired and that they have to start again from scratch. I think they may attempt to tell us that it's just an amendment and they don't need to open a public hearing or anything like that. But that's just an overtone that I'm getting from some correspondence I've seen. It's not an official pronouncement of their position on this. And I looked at some numbers. It might be complicated because of the way the state extended permits for a while because of the COVID emergency. There was an initial package of extensions that, I think first it was Baker's executive order, and then the legislature blessed it and laid down some markers about how long things could be extended for. And then just recently, the legislature extended it again. I think that was the beginning of this year, and said that, I was looking at it right before this meeting, but I think it said that anything that was still valid and had not expired on January 1st, 2023, got another 2 years from the date when it should have expired without all of the extensions. And I think if we take the longest possible timeline from the Victory's point of view, the original site plan approval, that was what, January 19th, Jeff, of 2019?
Yeah, yes, that's when the February, it was February 1st of 2019 when the city clerk stamped the decision.
Okay, for some reason, January had stuck in my mind. That's probably.
Maybe I mistyped it. I thought I put January, maybe it was, let me just double check. Please bear with me 1 second.
You'd think that the date would be engraved on my brain at this point, but it just
It was February 1st of 2019. The planning board's decision date was January 22nd.
Okay.
Date of notice was the 29th, and the city clerk stamped it on February 1st of 2019.
So taking it from the stamp date, it would have expired without COVID in either 2021 or 2022. So it would have been subject, I think, to the original order extending everything. And if you run the dates, I think in the best possible case for them, I think it expired some point mid-May of this year. And that's taking everything in their favor to the extent that we can. So, I'm going to have to double check all of this, but, I think that there is, or depending on exactly when we date by, there's a possibility that it only expired a few weeks ago.
But was there actually a Baker extension? Because I never saw anything to that effect.
Well, this may be one where we run the whole thing by Jane, just to be sure. But my understanding of it, and it's a while ago that I really looked, but there was a memo that came out from at least one of the law firms that specializes in mass muni law that, talked about it in context with the most recent extension or extension act. And it said, here's an anomaly for you. If your permit was granted between thus and such dates and it was still in force, you got this big extension under the Baker emergency provisions that the legislature then blessed. And I think I still have the URL for the calculation tool for when the permit expired that they put together. Let me see if I have it here.
So yeah, there was an extension under Baker, but yeah, if you want to forward me everything, I'm happy to go through it and make sure we have the appropriate deadline or time. And I can let Jeff know.
Well, Jane, this might be just another, I'm not trying to cause any trouble, but the previous city solicitor or a previous city solicitor believed that the city had passed a 3-year life of approval, when in fact it was only 2. So the original decision that was dated 2019 has shall expire in 3 years. Would the 3 years actually have been, would that have actually been the reality, or would it really be 2 years, as it was, the city never accepted the 3 years?
It would have been 3 years unless it was corrected with a scrivener's,
Okay.
unfortunately.
No, I was just excited. There was never really, thank you for clearing that up.
And I'm just going to drop this link into the chat.
But if the original approval was for 3 years, would then it not be subject to the Baker extension because it didn't expire during?
Usually
Well,
it says something about either, it doesn't have to expire within the time, but it usually just has to be in effect during the time.
Yeah.
So I would really like the chance to just review it all and
Yeah.
just make sure we have the date right. Dates.
Yeah, no, just reading from this memo. For example, a permit that was issued before and in effect as of March 10th, 2020, which had an expiration date of July 1st, 2021. The expiration date would be extended by 462 days, the number of days the state of emergency was in effect. So, this permit was certainly in effect as of March 10th, 2020. If we consider a site plan a permit, which I believe we do under this legislation. Yeah. Legislation enacted during the governor's state of emergency provided extensions for permits issued by conservation commissions, zoning board of appeals, and planning boards. And this memo concludes with basically, like, yes, this makes no sense, but that's the way this is. So it says, look at the expiration date, and in many cases add 462 days. And then this year's Extension Act, would, either would or wouldn't give people extra time from the extended date. So this thing could have been extended for what, 5 years? I do think even at 3 years, probably it expired a few days before today. But I will be happier when Jane has looked at all of this too.
Happy to do so.
Well, thank you. So that's what I've got on the victory. And just that we may be having an argument with them, and even so, even if we conclude that this is in fact a site plan amendment on a valid site, we do have every right in the world to say you have to reopen the public hearing because this is a big project and these changes are not trivial. So are we done with the victory for the time being?
Yes.
I'm going to take that as a yes. And last on the other business agenda is special permit discussion between the planning board and the city council. And I'm not sure where that stands. You know, I got a email that discussed setting up a mostly staff, but also city council attendees group to talk about how we're handling special permits, who's doing what the process should be with the ones where, you know, as with marijuana, as with the drive-through, we have a role and the city council has a role. And, you know, I think they very reasonably would like to be clear about what they're supposed to be doing. But all that ever came to me was the one memo saying, let's talk about this. And, you know, Jane was not on the initial email. I suggested that she be added to the group for all the obvious reasons. I kind of assumed that we would hear next about when the meeting would be, but I've heard nothing. Anybody else?
I've heard nothing.
Just checking the agenda. There's a joint ordinance and charter and rules on Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly think it's an important discussion to have, and it would be great if we could have it. But apparently
Yeah,
none of us,
nothing on there.
yeah. Also relevant to the comprehensive plan discussion.
I can follow up with Jeffrey and see what the plan is.
That would be great, because my next question is going to be, okay, who calls who on the city council side? So yeah, if you can do that and find out what, if anything, is actually happening, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Okay, anything that isn't on the agenda by way of old business, new business? And in that case, we're on to minutes.
I do not have any, unfortunately. I will though.
Okay, well, that makes things easy.
Yes.
Is there anything else that we haven't discussed that anybody would like to discuss? We may be on track for a record here.
I am meeting with Counselor Givner next week at next Monday at 10 o'clock to talk about stuff, which I'm assuming will be the special permits. And it will be about her agenda that to be posted on Monday night. But I haven't gotten any further details from her. What she wants to talk about, she just wants to meet me to talk about stuff. So there's really no value add to that other than just on my list.
Well, I don't quite believe it. It is 7:34, and is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Roll call vote for Mimi,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Grinder,
Yes.
and Lauren.
Yes.
All right, folks. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you
Have a
all.
good night, everyone.
Amazing progress.